Hey, what's going on, Game Weavers? This is Eggs, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 15 most broken champions, and this is updated for 12.17. So 12.17, the new patch, has been out for the last 24 hours. So all the data that's come out, we're going to break it all down for you guys and give you the best champions you can play for free LP on the Rift. And if you want to master any of these picks, guys, make sure you check out the Game Weave website, linked in the description comment section, because these champions, we have courses for them, we have guides, and we also have high elo VOD analyses where we break down what the best in the world do that you can easily do in your games as well. So make sure you check out those links, get that exclusive access to the website by signing up, and let's get into the countdown. Now, starting off at number 15 is a champion who got changed in 12.17, this being Hecarim. And for Hecarim, because of the new AD scaling you have in your Q, because your Q, your rampage is now stacking up to 3 times and dealing more damage, this has been unreal for Hecarim. And you can see here from these stats, this is in high elo career, he's picked in 20% of games, banned in 13%, and in over 1500 matches to have a 51.65% win rate. S+ tier champion, he's unreal at the moment. Just make sure if you are playing Hecarim, you are building Divine Sundra and a Mirror Mana. You can sometimes rush a Chempunk Chainsword if the enemy team has lots of healing. You can put that major item in there, but all you Hecarim mains out there should be abusing this champion before he probably gets hotfix nerfed. That's how good he is at the moment. Now, coming in at number 14, heading down to the bot lane, 180 carry who is still loving life at the moment is Draven. Look at these stats in high elo career, close to a 55% win rate. That is just unreal. And the main reason for this, yes, Draven himself is a very strong champion, but there aren't really many AD carries who are actually that good anymore. Like, think about them all, right? They've all been nerfed. So champions like Jinx, Aphelios, Zeri, Sivir got nerfed in 12.17 as well. Kog'Maw has been nerfed, Dire really isn't that great. Twitch might be good, but you dumpster him during the laning phase, so he's probably the strongest laning phase AD carry. So if you are an ADC and Draven is not in your champion pool, I'd highly recommend learning him. And of course, you can do so via our website. Our Draven videos will help you out a ton. And speaking of one of those AD carries, Samira is the 13th champion on this countdown. So for Samira on over 1,000 games in high elo career to have a 51% win rate, very respectable indeed. She's also banned in over 35% of games because people just hate playing against this champion. But what's interesting for these Samira players is they're running sudden impact in their runes. This means that when you dash in, so when you use your wild rush, you are going to trigger the extra lethality from sudden impact, which remember got buffed a couple of patches ago. So this gives you actually more all-in potential, which is really what you are as an ADC. Also, Samira, the buffs to her Q, the scaling, and also her AD per level, she's actually got a mid to late game now. You don't just have to hard snowball out of the early game, so you can actually play the game even if you don't hard stomp during the laning phase. So Samira, another AD carry you guys should definitely consider picking. Now, coming in at number 12 on the countdown, this is Katarina. And because of the 12-12 buffs and changes to Katarina, they've really put her in a good position. And in high elo career, you can see in over 500 matches, 52.5% win rate. This is certainly very good. And remember, this is still kind of like a durability meta, right? Where enemy champions are tankier and they're harder to kill. So what's important for Katarina is you're just trying to stack as much damage as possible now with electrocute, sudden impact, a bit like Samira, right? This will proc off your Shumpo and give you the all-in bursty potential that you really need. And I'll probably be a little bit careful about playing Katarina into certain matchups. So champions like Galio, even Set with the new buff, Renekton mid sounds impossible to win. So it is a little risky blind picking her. You might just want to use her as a counter pick, but still, Katarina innately is a very, very good champion. Now, moving on, we've got to head to the top lane here and talk about Fiora, who is still an excellent champion when you know how to actually use the champion's kit. So in close to 650 matches in career, we can see she has over a 50% win rate, and she is ranked as an S+ tier champion. Banned in over 20% of games as well because she counters so many champions in the top lane. She is just an awesome champion to have in your champion pool. She does so well against so many champions. Now, what is interesting is that you have a variety of mythics you can go. I mean, not really, to be honest. It's either Gore Drinker or Divine Sundra, so maybe not a big variety, but you really want to be going Gore Drinker into enemy champions or enemy team compositions who have lots of close range champions. Because remember, Gore Drinker's active is going to be super useful and you'll heal back so much HP. But if you really want to play for that 1v1, let's say, or you're against a top laner who's going to build lots of HP, then Divine Sundra is going to be unreal. The Divine Sundra spike as well for Fiora is so good. So if you are snowballing, Divine Sundra might be a little bit better, especially with the Spellblade passive. But regardless of what mythic you build, Fiora is still in such a strong position in the top lane. Now, following Fiora, we have a champion who, well, has a very high skill ceiling as well, this being Nidalee. So for Nidalee in high elo, I know it's like a well-known thing now that because Nidalee players in high elos, they really know how to use the champion and maximize her potential. So in over 1,000 games in career high elo, we can see she has a 52% win rate. And when you pair a keystone like Dark Harvest or maybe even Electrocute with Night Harvester or Rocket Belt, I remember the Night Harvester buffs that came in a few patches ago, it makes Nidalee very oppressive. She might not be the best scaling champion in the game, but during the early to mid game, there is no jungler like her. She has so much pressure on the map, her clear is is very good, so you can full clear, you can even invade at level 2 if you take your W second, and you can hit the enemy jungler doing their gromp. I'd probably just recommend, guys, if you are going to pick Nidalee, try to pick her when you do have a bit of CC on your team. So that's why we see stuff like Renekton and Nidalee, right? That deadly duo in pro play. You might think about Pantheon, you might think about Leona, stuff like this. Maybe even Twisted Fate would work, because that means you guarantee your javelin toss, your spear to land, and that obviously guarantees your full combo, and that enemy champion is probably going to go boom. So maybe think about the synergy you have with your teammates in champ select, but Nidalee, excellent champion to pick if you can master her. Now ahead of Nidalee, another champion who got buffed in 12-17, this is Camille. So what happened for Camille in 12-17, the HP in your passive, this got buffed by 3%, and your E's hookshot damage, not only did the base damage increase, which wasn't actually talked about until the patch notes got released, and it's kind of a weird change, because it might even buff like support Camille, maybe even jungle Camille, hopefully not that, but still massive buff, and also the ratio, the AD ratio in it, got buffed as well. So in the mid to late game, I mean, if it wasn't good enough already, Camille's power in those later stages is even more enhanced. This is why in over 700 matches in her elo career, she has close to a 54% win rate. Her win rate has skyrocketed because of these buffs. It makes the champion so unfair to deal with, but like a lot of champions, guys, in the top lane, you do have some hard counters. So be very careful about just blind picking Camille, because champions like Jax, Darius, Tryndamere, Gwen, all these champions exist, right? So if you can pick her as a counter pick, that's when her potential will be realized. So do think about this in champ select. So Camille, another top laner to consider. And speaking of top laners, how about AAtrox? Now hopefully I don't have to talk that much about AAtrox here, because we should all know by now how broken this dude is with Eclipse. And for AAtrox to still be an S+ tier champion, I mean, it makes sense. There were no nerfs in 12-17 to AAtrox nor his items, which kind of baffles me, to be honest. That balance team is obviously on the good stuff, and you can see that AAtrox, close to Samira's ban rate, a 32% ban rate. Now, if that doesn't say something about the champion, then I don't know what does. And if you are an AAtrox main, I kind of feel sorry for you, because the champion is getting picked and banned so much, you can't even play the champion. So maybe a nerf is actually what this dude needs, and what some of you AAtrox players need as well. So not everyone is just picking him. Now, heading down to the support role here, one of 2 supports in this countdown, this is Pyke. And for Pyke in the bot lane, I know lots of changes recently to Pyke have really been about making him a support rather than seeing him played in the mid lane. So as a support, Pyke can close to 800 matches, over a 52% win rate, S+ tier champion, and you can see that Pyke as well is banned in close to 30% of games. Some of these champions, guys, are just so frustrating to play against, because people really think they're just OP, whether they're playing against a one-trick Pyke, or maybe Pyke just counters the champion they want to play, so Pyke may be into something like a Rakan, or maybe a Yuumi, something like this. Pyke does extremely well, right? And of course the build with Umbleglaive, which has been buffed, generally speaking, for season 12, rushing this item gives you a really big power spike in terms of just presence on the map, because you can just one-shot wards, you have a lot of pressure around the objectives and in the lane as well. So Pyke, if you want to snowball and actually carry as a support, is definitely a champion you should think about picking. Now heading back to the top lane here, another juggernaut. Let's just say you don't want to play AAtrox, or you don't want to play Fiora, well then you have to pick Darius. It's really the other top laner who is just dominating the game at the moment in close to 500 matches, close to a 52% win rate, S+ tier champion, and it's kind of interesting that some high elo Korean players actually running Nimbus Cloak and Celerity as their secondary rune tree. So of course you're still running Conqueror, but with Nimbus Cloak, when you have Flash and Ghost, the movement speed you have is off chops. Like no enemy champion in the top lane, I didn't even care if it's someone with high mobility like a Riven, they are not going to escape. So as soon as you pop that Ghost or even your Flash, you are going to escape sticky situations because of that amount of movement speed. Think about Celerity as well, that will just enhance this, and the enemy champion is not going to escape either, because you have so much stickiness. That is really Darius's downfall, if he does have one, getting kited. This means you are never going to get kited, and because of the slow in your crippling strike and the low cooldown it has, it is GG. Just make sure you're getting a Trinity Force as your mythic item if you're super snowballing, or you can also get a Stride Breaker if the enemy top laner has a lot of range, or maybe kite, and maybe the enemy team composition has a lot of range as well. Otherwise you are not going to be able to play the game. So Darius is the other top laner. You guys, if you don't have it in your champion pool, you are probably trolling. Now heading to the mid lane here, one of the strongest AP mages in the game at the moment, this is Vex. And why is Vex so strong? Well, it's really because of the Q buffs I gave her. So the Q's AP ratio going up, and also the cooldown being 4 seconds at level 9, so 5 points in your Q. That is just absurd. You have so much wave clear, so much poke potential, and Vex is also a champion who does so well into so many champions. Think about all those assassins you play against in the mid lane. Because of your passive massive and you're impossible to miss W, it pretty much makes it impossible for the enemy champion to ever actually jump onto you. That's why Vex is often picked as a counter to a champion like LeBlanc, for instance, because LB can never really jump into a Vex. So Vex, guys, if you need some magic damage in the mid lane, you can probably even blind pick her, she's that good. So please think about picking her for the rest of 12-17. Now heading back to the bot lane here, the other support on this countdown, so we talked about Pyke, but let's say you want to pick a champion who maybe has one of the biggest ultimates in the game, then how about Amumu? And just like Pyke, Amumu's ban, well, in actually over 30% of games, so a 31% ban rate, this champion, you can tell that lots of people don't like playing against it. Well, Glacial Augment as well, if we think about the bot laners at the moment, so many people, right, like pick Enchantresses, so stuff like Janna, Sona, Soraka. These champions really don't like Glacial because they're slow, right? It means that their kite that they have, so think about all the movement speed that champions like Sona and Lulu and Janna can give their teammates. Glacial just really cucks them, and for a champion like Amumu to have his Q, where you have 2 bandage tosses, think about it, in the space of 3 to 4 seconds, it makes it very hard to play against if you are one of those supports, which is why he's banned in such a high amount of games. But if he is open, guys, please pick this champion. Even if you're not in a great matchup like you might be diving into maybe a Rel, he still has so much potential in any game because of his ultimate Curse of the Sad Mummy. So he comes in at number 4. Now starting off the top 3 is a champion, well, who a bit like Nidalee is a jungler who does so well in high reloads, this being Rek'sai. And she has close to a 56% win rate in over 450 matches, and look at the ban rate for me, 32.6% of games you cannot play Rek'Sai in. That's kind of crazy for a champion who really doesn't make any noise in pro play anymore. So to be this strong in solo queue, it goes to show just how good she is. And of course, by running Prowler's Claw and Edge of Night, the build is still the same, maxing your Q first, then followed by your E. Even though the Q has been changed a little bit this season, still hasn't changed the fact that maxing your Queen's Wrath and your Prey Seeker is still the best option. Now moving back to the mid lane here, guys, we talked about Vex being an AP mage you can pick in the mid lane, but what about if you need some attack damage? Well, this champion I'm going to recommend is Zed, who has a 42% ban rate in high elo career. So in over 600 matches, he has a 52% win rate, S+ tier, but he's banned in close, well, maybe close to 50% of games. So that doesn't speak volumes to how broken Zed is at the moment, and really we should thank the E buff for that a couple of patches ago. So your E's energy cost was down by 10, so you can use your Shadow Slash more often, and pair this with the Scorch buff as well. It just makes Zed's damage pretty much unavoidable. You can blind pick this champion happily knowing you are going to be a force in any game, so Zed is the number 2 champion for 12-17. Now the number 1 champion is a champion who got changed in 12-17. This is Miss Fortune. She has a 56.2% win rate in over 2,000 matches. Now why is Miss Fortune so broken all of a sudden? That's because of all the changes Rider given Miss Fortune, so no longer is it actually worth to go Arcane Comet into lethality. We are talking press the attack Miss Fortune with a Q max into a W second into an E max third with Kraken Slayer, Collector, Infinity Edge. The damage you deal is off chops, and because Miss Fortune is Miss Fortune, you've always been a very strong laner, that is still there. And Miss Fortune is one of the great picks in a Draven because Draven does not appreciate the slow and make it rain, and because of your bullet time, you can actually just one-shot him without him even touching you. So think about picking Miss Fortune into Draven if you see the champion. And just generally speaking, Miss Fortune, because of the buffs, like honestly, I think she's going to get hotfix nerfed. So if you can, guys, for the next day or so, abuse her for the free LP while you can. And any Miss Fortune mains, let me know in the comments what you think of the champion, and if you main any of the champions, guys, we've talked about, let me know how 12-17 feels. But those were the 15 most broken updated champions for the current patch. Make sure you play these champions for the next 2 weeks if you want to win your games. And of course, if you did enjoy the video, please remember to leave a like down below, and I will see you in our next season 12 upload. This has been a... Peace.